Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mensch. Today I'm going to do a manual install of Arch Linux using the June 1st, 2024 ISO. So let's get to it. So this is an extra step that I do that probably most people don't do. So I'm in Firefox. I'm at the Arch Linux website and I'm going to click on Wiki. I'm going to type in mirrors and click it on. And I'm just going to scan down a bit. So I'm going to click on mirror status. I'm going to pick two mirrors that I'm going to use for my installation. So I'm going to click on successfully syncing mirrors. Then I'm going to click on country and it puts it in order of country. And I'm going to click it again just to bring the United States to the top. Now I'm in Canada, but I'm going to use the United States mirrors. So I'm going to click it on again. So now it brings the United States to the top. And I'm going to look for two good mirrors. Now this changes all the time because the mirrors are always in different state of resyncing. Okay, so I'm going to make this my first mirror. Number one, I always go with the mirrors that have an S in them at the end, HTTPS, because they're more secure. I make sure the mirror is at 100% in sync. And this number here, 0.7, the lower this number is, the better. So this is 0.7. I'm going to make that my first mirror, TMM Workshop. And I'm going to make my second mirror, America Package Build. It has the S in there, the HTTPS. It's 100% in sync, and it's 0.8. And I might pick a third mirror. I'm going to do MTU, lug MTU. It's also HTTPS. It's 100%, and it's 0.8. So I'm going to make my first mirror TMM Workshop, my second mirror America Package Build, and my third mirror. And you know what? I might even do my third mirror LTY me at Linux, Arch Linux. Anyways, so let's go back to my virtual machine. And I'm going to open up my virtual machine. So I've logged on to the June 1st ISO. And first thing I'm going to do is make this large print so you can see it. So I'm going to do set font tier -132B. Ah, that's better. And I'm going to clear the screen. So the next thing I'm going to do is set the time and the date. So I'm going to type in time, date, control, set, NTP, true. Next thing I'm going to do is type in this command. Oh, let's clear the screen. Let's do vim, etc, pacman, conf. And I'm going to make it parallel downloads. Now, this thing you're going to have to change again after the installation. And this is the only thing you're going to have to fix after the install. Well, I shouldn't say that. This file, we're going to change it for now, and it's going to work for our install. But once the installation is done, you're going to have to go back and change it. Well, you don't have to. It's optional. Okay. And I passed it. Here it is here. So I want to activate these two lines, verbose package list and parallel downloads. Now the verbose package list probably won't work for the install because my font's too large. The verbose package list is just when you're installing packages, it puts it in columns rather than paragraph form. So if you're installing, let's say 600 packages, rather than being in a paragraph form, it's going to be in columns. But like I said, this font's probably too large for it. Hey, but the one that I really wanted is the parallel downloads equals 5, okay? Now I'm going to clear the screen. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to download 900 mirrors. So that's the command, and we're going to hit enter. And now I'm going to clear the screen, and I'm going to change the font to tier-128 normal. I'm going to clear the screen, and that's the command, just so you can see it all on one line. And of course, that command is on the Arch Linux website. So if you have another computer or an iPad or a phone, you can look it up and get it from there as well. But that's what the command looks like when it's on one line. So now I'm going to go back to the large font, tier-132B. Oh, that's better. And I'm going to clear the screen, and I'm going to type in this command, vim. Now, that's the other thing too, is that if you're going to do a manual install, you must know how to use Vim, Nano, or some other text editor that's going to work in the TTY. Okay? So I like Vim, I don't like Nano, but you can use Nano if you like. Etsy, Pacman, D, mirror list. Let's hit enter, and there's all the mirrors. And what I want to do is, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to put numbers in. Let's do set and U. So there's the numbers. Now let's go to the bottom. Oh, there's more mirrors. This used to be 900. Now there's 1023. Now there's not 1023 mirrors because these numbers are counting the empty spaces. So I see this empty space here, 1014. So it's counting the empty spaces, but so there's 1023 lines. Let's say there's 900 mirrors. Maybe there's 850 mirrors or whatever. There's a lot of mirrors. They're all over the world. Now, when you do it this way, these mirrors are deactivated. So you have to unactivate a couple mirrors or you won't be able to do your install. So I'm going to do a search for TMM. That was the first mirror that I picked. And I'm going to make sure I'm picking the one that's the HTTPS, right? So I'm going to grab it. I'm going to go to the top and I'm going to paste it in and I'm going to uncomment it to make it activated. Now I'm just going to make a space here. You don't have to make a space. That's for cosmetic reasons. And I'm going to do a mirror for a search for LTY. Now there's two LTYs here, right? So I'm going to pick the one with the S because the S stands for secure. It's a more secure mirror. So I'm going to yank it. I'm going to go to the top. And I'm going to paste it in and I'm going to uncomment it or activate it. And let's go down to another mirror. America, there it is. America package build. And I'm making sure I'm grabbing the one with the S. Let's go to the top. Let's paste it in and uncomment it. So now we have three mirrors, and I have three mirrors that have a good rating from the Arch Linux website. They're 100% in sync, and they're fast mirrors. So I'm going to save the file, and we're out of there. So now that I've done that, we have to sync our mirrors. So I'm going to do Pacman SYY. And oh, there we go. Now the mirrors are in sync. So now I'm going to close the file. And I'm going to change the font to set font tier -128 normal. So I'm just making it a little smaller because it's going to be easier to see when I'm partitioning my drive. And for this part, I'm going to turn my face off. So now I'm going to type in CF disk. And I'm going to use my arrows to go up and down. And I'm going to pick DOS. Let's just bring my face back for a minute. So this is a virtual machine. I gave it a 50 gig hard drive, 4 processors, and 4 gigs of RAM. And I'm not going to give it a swap because I never use swap and I don't believe in swap. So there. So now I'm going to get rid of my face again. So now I'm going to click on new. And I'm going to give my, I'm going to make a 1 gig partition for my boot. Okay. I used to make 200 megabytes, and then I went up to 500 megabytes. And if you're going to use more than one kernel, and if you want to have multiple kernels installed at the same time, like different types of kernels, then you want to probably give yourself a larger partition for your boot drive. So I'm going to give it a 1 gig. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to hit primary, and I'm going to use my arrow to go to bootable. And I'm going to go down to the free space, and I'm going to hit new, and it's at 49 gig. I'm going to leave that the way it is. Hit primary, hit bootable, and I'm going to use my arrow keys to go over to right, and I'm going to click on hit enter, and I'm going to type in yes. You can't put a Y here, you have to type in the whole word yes. And then I'm going to use my arrows to go to quit, and I'm going to quit. And now I'm going to clear the screen, and I'm going to bring my face back. So now I'm going to change the font again. Set font tier -132B. And I didn't keep this font because in CF Desk, this font is too large. It throws things, well, you can use it, but it kind of throws things off. So I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to do it LSBLK. So you can see I have two partitions now. You can see I have a 50 gig hard drive. VDA1 is 1 gig. I'm going to use that for my boot partition. And VDA2 is 49 gigs. And it's going to be my main partition where I'm going to install Arch Linux. And if you're doing this on bare metal, it's probably going to be SDA1 and SDA2. But you have to check, and that's why we do the LSBLK. So I'm going to encrypt this drive. So I'm going to type in encrypt setup -y -v lux format dev VDA 2. Okay, so we're encrypting this 49 gig partition. Now notice lux format is one word, and notice that the F is capitalized. It has to be typed in that way. Lux format's one word and the F is capitalized, and I'm going to hit enter. Now it says warning. You have to type yes in capitals if you really want to do this. So I'm going to put my cap lock on and I'm going to type in yes. I'm going to hit enter. Now it's asking for a passphrase. Now the thing is about the passphrase for encryption, you can change your passphrase down the road, but only if you remember it. If you forget your passphrase, you're toast. The only thing you can do is reformat your drive. Okay? Now, remember, we put the caps on. When it said type yes in capital letters, I put my cap lock on. So I don't want my password to be in caps. You can have it in caps if you want, but I don't want my password to be in caps, so I'm going to take my cap lock off. So you have to be careful when you're making this password. So I took my cap lock off, and I'm going to type in my password. Now it's asking me to verify my password. Now, like I said, this password can be changed down the road as long as you don't forget it. If you forget it, you're going to have to reformat your hard drive. You won't be able to get into it. Now I'm going to open the drive. So I'm going to do crypt, setup, open, dev, VDA2, and you have to leave a space here, and you're going to have to give a drive a name. You can name it whatever you want. Okay? I'm going to name it me. It's just simple. Me. Okay? Now it's asking for the passphrase they just made, so I'm going to put that passphrase in. Now it's opened. Now I'm going to clear the screen, and I'm going to make a file system for it. So I'm going to do make file system period ext 4 space dev mapper / me, because that's the name of my drive is called me. You can call it whatever you want. So it's making a file system for my partition, my main partition. Now I'm going to clear the screen. Now I'm going to make a file system for my boot partition, which is 1 gig, right? So I'm going to do make file system ext4 space dev VDA1. And that's done. Now I'm going to clear the screen. Now I'm going to LSBLK it. And there we have it. We can see we have a 50 gig hard drive. VDA1 is 1 gig. VDA2 is labeled me, and it's a crypt drive. You can see on the far right, it says crypt, and that's 49 gig. Okay, now I'm going to clear the screen. So now I'm going to mount my main drive, or my main partition. So I'm going to type in mount dev mapper / me. And after me, I got to leave a space / mnt. There we go. Now it's mounted. So we could do LSBLK, and we can see my encrypted drive, that's VDA2, is called me. It's crypted and it's mounted. Okay. Now let's clear the screen. Now I'm going to mount my boot partition. So first I'm going to make a directory called mnt/boot. Now I'm going to mount VDA1 to it. So I'm going to type in mount dev VDA1, leave a space, mnt/boot. Now I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to do LSBLK to make sure everything's mounted. So you can see my drive, it's VDA, it's 50 gigs. VDA1 is 1 gig, it's mounted to boot. And VDA2 is labeled me, it's a crypt drive or crypt partition, and it's mounted to mount, /mount. Okay, so that's good. So I'm going to clear the screen. So now I'm going to install a real base installation, and this is going to be a full install. So after I install my base installation, I'm going to install all my favorite window managers, apps, and everything. It's going to be a full installation, but first we got to install the base install. So I'm going to type in this command, pack strap mnt/mnt base devel Linux-firmware Linux-LTS. I'm only going to install one kernel, even though I made a 1 gig partition, a boot partition. I'm only going to install one kernel for now. I'm going to install vim git and terminus font. Okay, I'm going to hit enter. And it's installing 156 packages. This takes about maybe 5 minutes. Might even not even take that. Look how fast it's going. Wow. I don't even know if I have to pause the video for this. That's really fast. I picked some good mirrors. I always like to pick my mirrors manually. Okay, so that took about, I don't know, 3 minutes. So I'm going to clear the screen. And I'm going to type in this command, gen fstab -U space mnt space arrow space mnt space /etc, or so actually /etc/fstab, just like that. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, now I'm going to root into my system. I'm going to change root into my really base system. So I'm going to clear the screen. Let's do arch-root space mnt. So now we've rooted into our system. So the next thing we have to do is pick our location. Now, if you know your location, you can just type it in. And that's what I usually do in my installs. This time I'm going to show you how to search for your location. So you could do ls-usr. This is going to be a really long video. Share zone info. So you can see all the countries. And my country is Canada with a capital C. Now I could put that back there and put another, and I use my arrow, by the way. Use your up arrow to put the last command in. Let's put a slash in there, and let's put Canada with a capital C. And let's just clear the screen. So let's do that again. So now we can see the different locations in Canada. So I'm in Eastern, so it's Eastern with a capital E. So now I'm going to clear the screen, and I'm going to type this command in, ln-sf space usr /share /zone info /Canada with a capital C /Eastern with a capital E. Gonna leave a space. I'm gonna do etc local time. I'm gonna hit enter. So that's what the line looks like. In your country, it's gonna look a little different, right? There we go. Now I'm gonna clear the screen, and I'm gonna type in vim etc locale gen. And I'm just gonna scan down English. There it is there. So I want the English CA. So I'm gonna uncomment this or activate the line. And I'm gonna uncomment that one. I'm gonna activate those 2 lines for Canada. And I'm gonna save the file. And I'm gonna clear the screen. Then I'm gonna type in this command, locale-gen. And it's generating my location. Now this part, some of this part, if you mess it up, you can fix it after the fact. And if you do mess it up, your clock will be off. But it can be fixed after the fact. And I'm going to type in Vim. Oh, let's clear the screen. Vim, Etsy, Ocal, Conf. And this you have to type in perfectly. Oops. And of course, I'm typing it specifically for my country and where I live. Language equals EN CA period UTF dash 8. And you're going to have to type it into what you put earlier when we put those commands, some of those commands in. We went into that other file and uncommented 2 lines. You're going to have to match, this has to match that. I hope that makes sense. So let's save it, get out of there. And next, I'm going to pick a host name. So I'm going to do Vim, Etsy, host name. And I'm going to call this, you can call this whatever you want. You can change it after the fact. I'm going to call it Arch Manual because it was an Arch Manual install. Okay, I'm going to save the file and I'm going to clear the screen. And I'm going to make a password for root. So PASSWD, so it's password without the O and without the R. PassWD. Hit enter, put my password in for root, retype my password, and that's done. And I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to do Pacman, Pacman dash capital S network manager and grub. And notice network manager is one word. Enter, proceed with the installation. And it's installing 20 packages. This is just going to take a moment. And it's done. So let's clear the screen. And I'm going to type in system control enable network manager. So network manager, if you don't install network manager or enable it, when you finish your installation and you boot into your installation, you won't have any internet. You won't be able to use your web browser. You won't be able to download packages into the terminal. So that's what network manager does. And notice, and I'm enabling it, so every time you boot into the system, network manager will be started, or it will start, okay? And notice network manager is one word. Notice the first letter, N, is capitalized, and the middle letter, M, for manager, is capitalized. So it has to be typed in like that. One word with the N and the M capitalized, okay? So I'm enabling it, and now it's enabled. So when we boot into our system, we're going to have internet in the terminal and internet in the web browser, okay? So I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to do grub dash install dev VDA. So I'm installing grub to VDA. Yours is probably going to be SDA if it's a hard drive. And that's done, and you can see it says installation finished, no error reported. Now, it doesn't mean we're finished our install of Arch Linux. It just means the installation for grub is finished and there's no error reported. So I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to type in this command, grub mk config space -o, and that's an O and not a 0. Leave a space, boot, grub cfg. Enter, and that's done. Let's clear the screen. And I'm going to go into Vim, Etsy, mkinitcpio, conf, and I'm going to scan down to this line right here. Okay, and I'm going to go between the words block and file system. Okay, and I'm going to type in encrypt. Okay, and you have to make sure you spell it right. And I'm going to save the file, and I'm going to clear the screen. Now I'm going to type in this command, mkinitcpio dash capital P, and hit enter. And this just takes a minute or so. Now, the next 2 things I do are going to be the hardest part of this install, And if you make a mistake when you're doing them, you won't be able to boot into your system. Now, if you do make a mistake and you cannot boot in, there is a way to fix that. All is not lost, but it's going to be harder to fix and you have to know how to do it. Okay, so we're going to clear the screen. So I'm going to type in BLKID. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a file from this. So I'm going to type in BLKID, leave a space, and do a pipe T-A UUID. So what I've done is I've copied this into a file. So let's clear the screen. Let's ls it. And you can see it up there in the top right-hand side. It's the very last word, UUID. So I'm going to vim into it. Vim UUID. And I'm going to go down to this dev VDA2 and I'm going to copy it. So I'm going to do YY. I'm going to yank it. And like I said, if you don't know how to use Vim or Nano or a text editor that works in TTY, you won't be able to do a manual install of Arch Linux. Okay, so I'm going to copy that line, VDA2, and now I'm going to get out of this file, and I'm going to clear the screen. Now I'm going to vim into etc default /grub, and I'm going to go down, I'm going to go to the end of the line, and I'm going to paste it in. And I'm going to go to the end of the line, and very slowly and very carefully, I'm going to start deleting part of this line. And this part, if you mess up this part, you won't be able to get into your system. And you will be able to log on to it with a live ISO and fix it, but that's more complicated. And logging on to a broken system with a live ISO, logging on to a broken system that's encrypted, it's even harder to get into it and open it up and mount onto it. It is possible and you can do it, but you have to know how to do it. Okay, so you want to be very careful with this. So now I'm just going to take out, I'm going to leave the E in there at the very end. Like that. Okay, now I'm going to put a full colon in and I'm going to type in crypt me. Now the me is there because me is the name of my encryption drive. Now remember I said earlier on, you can call it whatever you want. I called it me, but whatever you called it, you're going to have to put in this line. So you're going to have to remember what you called your drive and you're going to have to add it to this line. So you're going to type in the word crypt and the name of your drive. So mine is called me. So I'm going to type in me. I'm going to leave a space. I'm going to type in the name of my drive again. Me equals /dev /mapper /me. And then I'm going to put that there like that. Now I'm going to go to the beginning of the line because I have to fix some more stuff. And I'm going to go to UUID. And I'm going to start to backspace very slowly and easily. Take your time because you don't want to mess anything up. So it should be Linux equals crypt device equals UUID. And you got to take out this one here. So that's what the line should look like. Okay. I'm going to save it and right click it. And I'm going to change the font. I'm going to make it really small. Set font. Sorry about this, but I just want you to be able to see. Oops. Let's go back into that file. And there it is there. So I just want you to see what it looks like when it's on one line. That's what it looks like. Okay, so it's this one here. And actually we could do this. Set numbers. Okay, so we're looking at line number 7. That's the way it should look. I know it's really small, but I want you to see it all on one line. Okay, and if that line is not done properly, you won't be able to get into your system. And like I said, there is a way to fix it, but that's a little more complicated. Okay, but it is doable. It is fixable. So let's get out of there. And let's change the font back. Set font tier -132B. That's better. Okay, so next, we're going to make grub again. So let's just, you can use your arrow keys. You don't have to type it out. You can use your arrow keys to go up. We did a lot of commands, so we have to go up. There it is there. Make grub dash O and not a 0. Boot grub dot cfg. So let's make grub again. And let's clear the screen. And let's exit. And let's make sure we've unmounted properly. Now it's unmount without the N. So sometimes when I type in this word, I accidentally put an N in there, unmount, but there's no N in there. It's umount. Okay, umount space dash capital R slash MNT. I just want to make sure I've unmounted from my new system. And I have. Now I'm going to reboot. And if I did it right, we should be able to get into our system. So let's make it full screen. Let's hit enter. Now remember, I encrypted it. So if it's asking for my encryption password. So I'm going to put my encryption password in. And it's decrypting the drive or unencrypting it. And remember, at this point, I don't have a user. I just have root. So I'm going to type in root. I'm going to put root's password in. And now I'm going to do set bot tier dash 132B. There we go. So now I'm going to make a user. So it worked. So now we have a base installation of Arch Linux that's encrypted, done the manual way. So now I'm going to make a user. This part's easy. User add dash M mensch. I'm going to give mensch a password. PASWD. So remember, it's password without the O and without the R. PASWD mensch. I'm going to give mensch a password. Now I'm going to do give mensch sudo privileges. So I'm going to do vim etc sudoers. And I'm going to go to root. And I'm going to yank it. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to change the second line to mensch. Now, most people and most distributions would make mensch part of the wheel group and give them sudo privileges that way. But I like to do it this way. I think this is easier. Okay, so now I'm going to save the file. Whoops. Let's try that again. I did it wrong. Okay, so let's exit. Let's log in as mensch. Put mensch's password in and clear the screen. So now I'm going to make a directory called .config, mkdir dot config. Oop, I should spell it right. Now I'm going to get my post installation script, which is going to install all my favorite window managers and desktop environments and all my favorite apps. Okay, so I'm going to, let's clear the screen. Get clone https://getlab.com artemis1/mensch.get. And if this command is too hard for you to remember, this command is in the show notes of all my videos. Hit enter, and I'm cloning my GitLab repository. I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to cd into mensch. I'm going to ls it. I'm going to cd into arch. ls it. And, well, let's just open up my, see this one here? It says it's on this side. It's called autoapp.sh. I'm going to vim into autoapp. You don't have to go into it, but these are all the apps I'm going to install. Let's set NU. So let's go to the bottom. So there's 82 apps I'm installing. It's including the spaces, of course. Well, the spaces at the top. It's including these spaces at the top here. So you can take a look at this and see if you want to install these. It's installing Firefox, the Tor web browser, the full LibreOffice suite, music apps, Kdenlive, OBS, GIMP. It's installing all the apps that you're going to need to have a full functioning system. Okay, so let's get out of there. So I'm going to run it. Let's clear the screen. Let's do dot. Type in auto, and let's run it. It's asking for Mensch's password. Hit enter, hit enter, hit enter. And I'm going to say no because I forgot to do something. So remember before I told you there's one file we're going to have to fix after we do our install, and that's this. Let's cd out of there. Let's do sudo vim etc pacman conf. So this file doesn't, the changes you made in this file doesn't follow you over into your install. So I want to do verbose package list and parallel downloads. Okay, but the mirror one does. So if we do vim etc pacman d mirror list. So you see the mirror list that we changed before does copy over into our install, but that pacman conf doesn't. And if you want to have parallel downloads, then you have to go back and change it. But you only have to do it once. Well, actually twice. Once when you're on the ISO and once after your install. But after that, you don't have to do it again. Okay. So now let's cd back into mensch/arch. And let's do run my auto app file. Hit enter, hit enter, hit enter. And it's going to install all these apps. And then I'm going to have a fully functioning system. It's installing 655 files or apps. So I'm going to pause the video. This takes about 5 minutes. So I'm going to pause the video and come back. So don't go away. Okay, so that didn't even take 5 minutes. I think it took 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. I never even got out of my chair. So I'm going to clear the screen. Now I'm going to just ls it. And then I'm going to run this other configuration file. If you see on that side, halfway down, it says run configs.sh. I'm going to run that file. And let's vim into it, just so you can see what's in it. So this is just going to copy a few wallpapers over, some other files over. It's going to enable my Bluetooth service. It's going to enable LightDM, and it's going to set the firewall. So just in case you want to look to see what that is. Now the firewall is installed, but it's not set yet. But I'm going to run that command. It only takes a second. I'm going to do dash /run. And that's done. Now I'm going to check to see if my Zesh file is working. And it is. Now I'm going to switch into root and see if my Zesh file is working in here. And it is. So by default, bash is the default shell, but I like Zesh. So I'm going to make Zesh. First of all, I want to make sure it's working. Then I want to make Zesh my default shell. So I'm going to go into, there is a command, a quick command to do it, but I like to do it my way. So I'm going to exit out of there. I'm going to do vim. Now we're in root, so I don't have to do sudo. Vim etc password without the O and without the R. And I'm going to go to the end of the first line. I'm going to change that bash to Zesh. Then I'm going to do a search for a Mensch. I'm going to go to the end of the Mensch line. And see line 19. I'm going to change that bash to Zesh. And I'm going to right click it. Oh, sorry, right click it. I'm going to save it. And now I'm going to reboot. And it's going to, first it's going to take me to the page where you have to put your encryption password in. Then it's going to take me to LightDM. And now we have a fully functioning Arch Linux system. So it's asking for my encryption password. I'm going to put that in. And now it's going to take me to LightDM if I did everything right. And I'm pretty sure I did. Oh, and I don't know if you can hear my cat. She's meowing. That's Hope. She's probably going to come up here and stand in front of the camera. So now we're at LightDM. And here she is. This is Hope. So I have the Cinnamon desktop installed. I have Qtile installed. And I have the awesome window manager installed. I'm going to go into the awesome window manager. And there we are. We're in the awesome window manager. We have a fully functioning system. We have Firefox. Now, just so you know, and this, what I'm going to say, has to do with all computer systems, whether it's Arch Linux, Debian, Void, or Windows. On a fresh reboot, it takes longer to open up apps, But once they're opened up and you close them and you reopen them, they open faster because some of it stays in RAM. So we have Firefox, we have calculator. Oh, and there's another thing I want to do. I want to do hold down the super key and hold P, type in custom, and let's go to Materia Dark, and icon theme is going to be Papyrus Dark. Okay, I'm going to apply it, and I'm going to hit my apply button. Okay, so we have disks, GNOME disks. We have GNOME disk usage. Oh, and let's do, before I do that, I meant to do this. Let's do an HTOP. So right now we're running at, so in this system, I gave it 4 processors, 4 gigs of RAM, and no swap. And right now we're running at 295 megabytes of RAM, and we've already opened up Firefox and a few apps. I forgot to do this because normally I open up HTOP as soon as I log into the system, and I forgot, and I opened up Firefox and a few other apps. So, hey, we're running at 296 or 291 megabytes of RAM. Not bad. So let's close that. So we could open up Firefox again, see how fast it opens. What else do we have? I have Kdenlive. Kdenlive is the program I do all my editing in, and like I said, first time opening is slow. Okay, let's close that. I have Nemo File Manager. I have OBS Studio, where I do all my recording. Of course, this is just a virtual machine, right? I have PCman FM, my favorite file manager. I have Rhythmbox for music. Now I have no music in this virtual machine, but that's Rhythmbox. I have the full LibreOffice suite. That's LibreOffice. Now it's going to look terrible because I have the dark theme on. So we got to go in here into tools. Let's go to options. Let's go to view. Let's change this theme to Breeze Dark and apply it. Okay it. And there we go. So that's your spreadsheet program. Down here is Word Doc. That's the Word program. I have a GNOME System Monitor. We have volume control. Let's just move that to there. Now, of course, not all my apps are in this menu. So like I said, if you want to see what the apps that are installed, you could go into Xterm, CD into Mensch, Arch, type in Vim, Auto, and let's go to the top. So these are all the apps that are installed. So not all the apps are in my menu. I mean, if you use my thing, for instance, you're going to have, if you use my install script, you're going to have Celluloid, which is a video player. You're going to have ClamAV, which is an antivirus. You're going to have ClipGrab. ClipGrab is a program, when you're watching a video on the internet, if you use ClipGrab, it's going to download the videos for you into your hard drive so that you own the video. It has GIMP. GIMP is not in my menu as well, so I use GIMP to make my thumbnails. And you can see all the apps that are here. So if we go to another workspace, and let's do, it's not in the menu, so let's do Super Key P, and you do ClipGrab. This is the program that's going to, if you're watching a video on the internet, you can download the video into your hard drive. Let's do Mod Key P, let's do Celluloid. This is a video player. I don't have any videos in here though. And let's just see if it opens up faster second time. Oh yeah, that's better. Okay, let's do weather again and see what it does now. See if it gives me the same Vienna, Austria, or if it gives me something else. Oh, it gives me the same one. Okay. Oh, and I have, let's open up GIMP. GIMP is not in my menu, so Mod Key P, GIMP. And of course, if you know how to use Awesome, and of course, this is this Awesome configuration file. Well, this is not default awesome. This is awesome with my own configuration file. And let's close that. And let's quit out of there. We can log into Cinnamon. Now, the thing is about Cinnamon is made by the Linux Mint team. And Cinnamon in Linux Mint is beautiful, or it's nice anyways. It's nicely themed. But when you install Cinnamon from pure Arch Linux or pure Debian, this is what it looks like, and it's ugly. Now, I don't have my own configuration file for Cinnamon because Cinnamon is really easy to use and it's easy to theme and make it look nicer. So I don't have my own config file for Cinnamon. And like I said, when you install Cinnamon in Manjaro or in Linux Mint, it's a lot nicer looking, but in pure Debian and pure Arch Linux, this is the way it looks. So I'm going to log out. I'm not going to do anything in Cinnamon. I have lots of videos showing how I like to theme my Cinnamon desktop environment, and you can go watch those if you like. And let's just log in for a minute to Qtile. This is a really long video. And of course, the Qtile is not the default Qtile. It's my own configuration file. So let's do, now on Qtile, the mouse doesn't do anything. So let's do mod key F will open up Firefox. And there's Firefox and Qtile. Okay, let's close it. And I'm not going to stay in Qtile. This is not a video about how to use Qtile. And what I'm going to do is go back into Awesome. And I'm going to reboot because I just want to see what the RAM usage is like on a reboot. And then I'm going to close the video and put my encryption password in. And let's make sure we're on the Awesome. We're on the Awesome. I want to go into Awesome. Right now, Awesome is my favorite window manager. So let's go into HTOP. So now we're running at 276 megabytes of, 266, it went down. So we're running at 266 megabytes of RAM. Isn't that nice? Now let's quit out of there. Now let's open up Xterm, and then I'm going to close the video. So we have NeoFetch installed. Here I see it saying 258 megabytes of RAM. Let's quit out of there. Oops, let's clear the screen. I also have FastFetch installed. Wow, that's fast. Let's clear the screen. And let's just do an HTOP again. And right now I'm running at 254 megabytes of RAM. Let's close it. And that's it. In this video, I went through a full manual install of Arch Linux. The manual way, doing it the traditional way. And of course, this video is pretty much the same as some of my other videos, but the last time I did a manual install of Arch Linux, I think it was either in December or January. So I thought I would do it again with the June 1st, 2024 ISO. And so, like I said, I went through a manual install of Arch Linux and I encrypted my drive. And I installed my post-installation script with all my favorite apps and window managers. I installed the Awesome Window Manager, the Qtile Window Manager, the Cinnamon Desktop, and all my favorite apps: Firefox, Tor Web Browser, Rhythmbox, OBS Studio, Kdenlive, GIMP, and the whole LibreOffice suite, and everything you would need to run a fully functioning Arch Linux system. And I took my time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mensch.